Hi, Jakob Stief here, the long-haired freaky dude. Today I'm going to review yet another take on the classic Agamemnon revenge story, Electra by Euripides, translated into English by Edward P. Coleridge. Now, this is a much different take on the tale than its predecessors, Electra by Sophocles and Agamemnon from the Orestes cycle by Aeschylus, all of which you can see reviews for right here. In case you aren't familiar with the theme of these stories, Agamemnon, the brother of the famed Menelaus, returns home after fighting for 10 years in the Trojan War, only to be slaughtered by his ever-so-loving wife, Clytemnestra. Ugh, I hate her so much. And her suitor, Aegisthus. So Agamemnon's children, Orestes and his sister Electra, I love that name. Electra is just so attractive, in addition to her character. But anyways, they seek revenge on their mother Clytemnestra and her suitor Aegisthus and kill them. The play starts out with Agamemnon already dead. Electra, outcast by her hypocritical mother, is married to a chastitous peasant. I find this theme to be a little curious. I mean, come on. A peasant gets to marry the princess, and he's gonna preach chastity? I don't buy it. Nonetheless, this nameless peasant is a very decent character, and he preaches some very virtuous things. I especially love this. Poor though I am, yet will I never show meanness in my habits. Okay, so we have a very moral, high-thinking peasant. It just doesn't seem like something that would be that true back in the day, but you know, whatever. But then again, maybe I'm just assuming things sort of like Clytemnestra was. Clytemnestra made Electra marry a peasant so that her son would be weak and not be able to seek revenge on Clytemnestra. But this assumes that all peasants are inherently weak, and all nobility inherently strong, which is utter bullcrap. But I would presume that the peasant class would be the stronger ones, because they're the hard workers. I mean, they're working the fields all day, they're cutting stone, chopping wood. I imagine they have some pretty bulky muscle there. So I don't get what this weak notion, where it's coming from. And maybe I'm hypocritical too for inherently thinking that a peasant would be morally weak. Anyway, Orestes, who was given away as a baby and raised to fulfill the prophecy of killing his mother, has returned. In disguise, of course. I mean, with all of his disguises, he reminds me of the Count of Monte Cristo. So, in disguise, he meets with his sister to see where she stands. She, of course, doesn't know that she's talking with her brother. After he realizes that she hates her mother just as much as he does, he reveals to her that Orestes is alive and ready to fulfill the prophecy. But he does not reveal that he himself is Orestes. Meanwhile, Electra brings in an old guy who realizes that the man in disguise is actually Orestes himself. Of the discovery themes across all the Electra plays, this is probably my least favorite. It leaves the discovery of Electra's brother to an insignificant character. But the scene does still leave the recognition up to the hair, the blonde locks. And that's how Orestes is identified in all of the plays that he's involved in, through his hair. But in Aeschylus and Sophocles, the recognition becomes directly between the two. It's much more emotional, it's much more dramatic, and it's much more sensual. Sophocles, I think, did the best job of capturing the feels with his incredible play on dialogue. And Aeschylus, he did the best job at setting the scene, where the moment of discovery is literally over their slain father's corpse. Using more trickery and guile, they fulfill their deed and kill Clytemnestra and Aegisthus. Unlike the other two plays, I actually sense a lot of regret building up in Electra and Orestes for killing their mother. Now, of course, in the Aeschylus version, Orestes, he has a lot of regret, and he goes on to the Eumenides, the Erinyes. He's got guilt. But it's much more so in the Euripides play. And of course, there is a sequel to this, Orestes, in which case he's literally gone mad, he's gone insane, he can't move, he can't think, he can't act, he just curl in a ball and cry. So there's much more guilt involved with Euripides' take on the story. It just makes him seem weaker than the no remorse characters I'm used to. Is it more realistic? Probably, but is it more likable? No. Finally, the play ends with a deus ex machina, which Euripides loves to use all the time. The Discori divinely appear, which were actually the brothers, the twin brothers of Clytemnestra and Helen of Troy, in case you're interested. And they answer some of Electra's questions and tell her to marry the friend of Orestes. Poor chastitous peasant. But Orestes' friend Pylades, he is truly a great guy. I think one of the greatest guys in all of the Greek tragedies. He's very moral and he's very loyal, just a fantastic friend. So I imagine he will make a fantastic husband as well. I think the relationship between Orestes and Pylades it's sort of comparable to Damon and Pythias, which is a fantastic Greek legend. I encourage you to look it up if you don't know who Damon and Pythias are. Great story of friendship. But really, yeah, this was my least favorite of the Electra play interpretations. The discovery between the siblings wasn't as connected, wasn't as sensual, wasn't as emotional, or as meaningful for that matter, and the characters, they just weren't as likable or as heroic as the other plays. So maybe my dislike comes from the fact that I read the other ones first, maybe it's the fact that I read the other ones first that I don't like this one, but yeah, it's just not as great as the other ones. So which of the Electra stories do you like best, Aeschylus, Sophocles, or Euripides? Or some other ones that I may not have read yet or know about. Feel free to comment or discuss in the comment section below. Well, I am Jakob Stief, the long-haired freaky dude. Thank you for watching this book review. If you like literature, math, or science, then might I suggest taking the Great Books Challenge. I'm sure it is something that you would love to do. If you want to see more fantastic book reviews, or headbanging to classical music, or now time lapses of making art, which is really cool, then might I suggest checking out my channel and hitting the subscribe button. Well, I'm Jakob Stief, the long-haired freaky dude. Thank you for watching this book review. Be sure to have a great day.